Um, Hi everyone. So today I'm going to talk about listening to yourself and self-trust and why that is the number one most important secret to getting what you want. My name's Sarah Mack. I'm a writer and a mindset coach for multi-passionate creatives, helping you to have more freedom and fun and earn more money in a life and career that you love. So I think, I went through a period of time where I wasn't necessarily 100% sure on what I wanted. I always had an idea. We always have an idea about what we want. Whether that's as simple as, more time, more freedom, getting to work from home, more time to work on, a particular creative project, being in a specific location, being working in a particular type of industry. We normally know what we want. We normally know what we're dissatisfied with in our current life, and what it would look like if we solved that problem and what that thing would be. So we always have an idea about what we want to move towards. The thing that stops us from getting it is a lack of self-trust. And that's the most important part to getting what we want, because we always know, the things that we can do, the changes that we can make, the steps we can take to move us towards what we've identified that we want. But the thing that's kind of undermines that progress is a lack of self-trust. It's a lack of trust in the fact that it's possible for us to have what we actually desire. We have doubts, we question whether or not we're actually capable of achieving that. And it's through a lack of self-trust in really showing up and committing to what we want and following through on that action. And, sometimes getting lost in looking outside of ourselves for answers, or telling ourselves that we don't know how to do something or what the next step is. But the truth is we always do. So that's the bit that makes it complicated. That's the bit where, there's parts of us that are saying, no, this isn't possible, and pulling us in one direction. And then there are the parts of us that are really, very clear on what it is that we want and are inviting us to move in that direction. And self-trust, a breakdown in self-trust can look like, resistance, procrastination, not really showing up for taking the actions that we know will move us in that direction. They also link to ourselves and not really creating that clear feedback loop within ourselves of when something feels good or when something doesn't feel good, or, deciding to push through on something anyway, or, those moments where we talk ourselves out of moving forward on the inkling or the little intuition, or the desire that we identified. And, there's so many reasons for this. It's very easy to get distracted, to, fall in. We're very conditioned to be asking other people how we should be doing things, because that's kind of how we were trained as children. So, we create these habits of asking other people what they think we should be doing rather than asking ourselves first. And obviously, having mentorship and, finding solutions to your problems by asking people who have the answers is obviously really supportive. But, really building that self-trust muscle, building that conversation within ourselves, and building that commitment to ourselves. Especially women, we can be conditioned to put other people before us, whether you're a mom or whether that was how your mom was when you were growing up around her, whether you're in a particular industry where you're conditioned to, serve the people that you're working for and put their needs before yours. And maybe often you've been asked to overstep your boundaries, or, give more than you are willing to give. That we are often put in these situations, and it is a conditioning. So, we have to recognize that that's something that we have to actively work on to build that connection and that self-trust to ourselves, so that we can actually start to honor our desires, honor who we are, and, you know, strengthen that story that what we want really is possible for us. Hi, thanks for joining. Send me some hearts and likes. If you have any questions or comments, please send them my way. And yeah, and that was just, you know, it just came to me. I was thinking about that, you know, even though, you know, I've got more clarity as I have gone on, there was a stage where as a multi-passionate creative, I had a lot of projects, a lot of things that I wanted to do. And, you know, that was one way that I would also self-sabotage, is trying to do too many things at once. But actually, when you think about it, it's really strengthening that conversation and really asking myself, well, what is actually most important to me? What is resonating the most with me? Or what do I want? Because, you know, it's kind of like shiny object syndrome. I saw somebody else had it and I wanted it. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But, you know, through really committing to myself, listening to what it is that I desired, taking action on that, and creating that positive feedback loop that I can create what I desire, and it is better when you do that than when you ignore it or, you know, procrastinate on it. Then the more you do that, the more you build that self-trust muscle, the less doubt you have, the less procrastination and resistance there is, and you know, the more happiness and fulfillment we create, because ultimately we're the only ones that know how to make ourselves happy. You know, we're the only ones who know what really lights us up, what we're really driven by, what's really exciting to us. And of course that can change all the time, but we don't have to have, you know, it all planned out for our life. Sometimes actually all we really need to know is what the next step is. Like, what is one thing that you desire that's different from what you have now? And through being really clear on that and focusing on that and taking action on that, that then leads you to open up a whole other, you know, range of like whatever the next step is for another desire, for another part of your life that would feel better, be more exciting, bring you more fulfillment, bring you more money, time, freedom, you know, whatever it is that you desire. All we really need to do is focus on that one thing that's pulling us and calling us. And as somebody who, you know, I've been through so many different phases in my life, so many different focuses. You know, I grew up as a dancer and in theatre. I did a lot of drama. I was really, you know, immersed in theatre in the UK growing up. And then I really got into film. And that ended up bringing me out to Canada, and I was working in film crews. That was my life for a really long time. You know, I studied a master's in film, and now I've made another transition to exploring music. And each one, you know, each one was fulfilling in a different way. Each one brought me a different type of experience, a different knowledge, and you never abandon that. You never, you know, have to completely start from scratch in a new, like a new industry or a new line of work. And obviously, you know, going into business as well, that's also my other main passion. But, you know, and often I hear this fear when people are talking about, you know, switching careers, about this fear of having to start again or start from the bottom. And actually, that never happens. You never start from the bottom. And I've taken many steps back in my life when I've, you know, either because I've moved to so many different countries. So, you know, maybe I would have to take like a lower position than I was in a previous industry, in a previous location. But I would still build on that, and I would bring everything that I brought with me and take it in a new direction and add to those skills. And, you know, it would still, I would create even more opportunities for myself thanks to everything that I brought with me. So I really want to share that message. That's just kind of come up. You know, if you have an inkling or a desire to do something completely different, don't let that fear of, you know, having to start from scratch, or the idea that you need a lot of time or you need a lot of resources to start something new. I mean, obviously you do to a certain extent, but you bring everything that you are up until this point with you, and it can work, you know, even if you do feel like you're taking a step back, even if, you know, you have to reallocate some resources, stepping into what you really desire and moving in the direction that's calling you and that's fulfilling to you is always, always, always the right choice. Because you don't want to look back at the end of your life and wish that you had tried something that you were being called to, you know? And I think a lot of the time we use those excuses of, oh, but, you know, I'll have to take a pay cut, or, you know, I'll have to make a lot of sacrifices and like give up a lot of things while I get this other thing up and running and going. And yeah, maybe those things are true, but doing what you desire